Hey, what's up everybody, it's me Jordan, and I'm back with another drawing video. This time I'm doing something a little bit different. I do a lot of anime style drawings and I realise that's what a lot of you guys want to see, but I like to mix up my drawing style a little bit sometimes and do some pencil drawings. I've done quite a few realistic drawings in this style. I haven't really recorded a lot of those drawings, so you won't really see them on YouTube, but you can find some of them on my Instagram if you're interested. But in this video, I'm drawing the very creepy, spider-like character, Muffet. I keep wanting to say Miss Muffet, but I think it's just Muffet. She's from an indie game called Undertale, which has been getting quite a lot of attention lately. It's got such a cute and charming art style, and just the dialogue in the game in general is really charming. It's hard to explain without having watched it or played it yourself. But I've been watching some playthroughs of the game. I really struggle to find the time to play a lot of these games. There's so many really cool games out there which I'd like to play, but I just don't really have the time to really dive into them. So often I like to watch playthroughs and just other people playing the games, and that gives me a chance to actually draw while I watch it in the background. I'd previously gotten a few requests to draw some characters from Undertale, so I chose to draw Muffet, but in a more realistic style, just because I thought that'd be kind of fun. She's got the spider-like eyes, which are really creepy, and they were just kind of fun to draw. I'm using my Mars Lumograph pencils, which I really like. They come in a variety of different shades, ranging from HB all the way through to the really dark 8B. They're really handy for this kind of drawing, just because you've got so many different tones, and I really like the black tones of these pencils. I find they go really dark, and that's something I look for in grey lead pencils, because some brands don't go very dark, it's more of just grey tones. I like to get a really high contrast in these drawings, so it's important to me that the pencils can go as close to black as possible, and I think these pencils do a really good job. So if you're looking for some good grey lead pencils, maybe check these out and see if you like them. The paper that I'm using for this drawing is from the VFart pad, which Aichi Crafts sent out to me, and this is the first time that I've used this paper for a grey lead drawing. I've previously used my Copics on it before. I've recorded the video for that, but I'm not sure if I've uploaded it yet, depending on when I upload this video. So that's coming. I'll be talking a little bit more in depth about that paper in that video. But I found this paper is a hot pressed paper, and it's a really sturdy paper. It's a little bit textured, so it can be a little bit tricky getting the finer details on this paper. It just depends really on what type of style you want to get. If you want to get hyper realistic, this paper probably isn't the best for that, just because it's not quite smooth enough to make really fine details. But for more sketchy drawings like this one, it works really well. As far as drawing techniques go, I've got a couple of different things that I'll talk about in this video to maybe help some of you guys out. One question that I get occasionally is, how do you do these drawings and not smudge it as you go? And with these grey lead drawings, especially like this, it is really easy to smudge your work, and if you're not careful, that's definitely going to happen. So there's a couple of different ways to avoid this. One way, which you might notice that I've done, is that I actually start in the left-hand corner of the drawing. So if you're left-handed, obviously it's going to be the opposite. And the idea of this is to fill out the drawing from the opposite side, so your hand doesn't really have anything to smudge yet. You'll even see at the stage where I'm at the moment, I've still done the left-hand side. So where my hand is doing all its movement, there's only some rough guidelines. The rough sketch is there, so I don't have to worry too much about that being smudged, because it's all got to be gone over anyway. The other technique which I recommend to you guys is to actually just have a piece of paper as a protective layer, pretty much in between your hand and your actual artwork, and you just kind of move this around, so this will be blocking your hand from actually touching your artwork. The reason why I'm not doing this, you'll see I occasionally do this in my videos, but I try not to so much, is only because I don't really want to block your guys' view of the drawing, but I do often use it if I need to, especially if I've done some shading with soft pastels, which are really easy to smudge. Another thing you can do, you can buy these like half hand gloves, I think, which pretty much serve the same purpose. I've never honestly used one because I think they'll just feel a little bit weird But if you really struggle with smudging your artwork all the time, feel free to try it out. Otherwise, just try using the paper guard technique and that should work fine for you. Now I'm going in and colouring the background. Well, not really, just adding some dots. I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do for the background. I wanted to keep it pretty simple because I didn't put too much time into this sketch and I didn't want to have some crazy background. But I thought it definitely needed something, so I decided to do a little bit of shading with my soft pastels and then a little bit more texture with my pencils, just some hatching. The two main aspects that I try and focus on in these drawings, especially grey lead drawings, is contrast and texture. So with the texture, I like to have a combination of smooth areas, like in the skin. There's lots of soft shading where I'm just blending with a tissue, and then some more textured bits I try and add in some hatching, cross hatching, that kind of thing, to create more of a varied look, and it makes it look more interesting. And then with contrast, you'll want highlights in the hair especially, or in the eyes, and then also really dark areas. And this is what's going to give you a nice 3D effect and make the drawing look a lot more interesting. I know I talk about these points a lot in pretty much all of my videos, but that's because it's really important, and if you neglect these two things, your drawing will suffer. That sounded really sinister. Your drawing will suffer. Okay, moving right along. I decided to add some highlights with my white gel pen, and they didn't really show up all the best in this drawing. My white gel pen was definitely struggling on this paper, but you could still see it, just not quite as bright as I would have liked, but it still made a difference and I think it looked nice. That's this drawing pretty much done. I wanted to use music from the actual soundtrack of the game because it's got really beautiful music and I love the kind of 8-bit style music, but I didn't want to risk copyright claims and all that good stuff that us YouTubers have to deal with, so I decided to not use the music, unfortunately. But if you like that style of music, definitely check out the soundtrack. It sounds really awesome and I highly recommend it. So that's it for this video. I will catch you guys next week in next week's drawing video.